Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Emily and today we are doing my honest product review of the Nutribullet Baby. Before we get into the video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. That way you're notified of all the latest here at EP Life. And without further ado, let's get on into it. I definitely think watch this review fully and hear me out before you buy this item. For those that don't know what the Nutribullet Baby is, it is a food processing system that helps you to make purees and food for your baby. It comes with this recipe guide. This recipe guide gives stage by month. I find it very useful if you need help with specific purees and ideas on what to make your baby. It also has great tips and tricks on like meal planning for your baby, for what age, what they can have, what they cannot have, as well as smoothie ideas. So I definitely found it useful upon receiving it with the bullet. In the box, you have the main batch bowl, your base that has the removable motor. You have these freezer molds to put meal prepped food in the freezer to store for a long period of time with a snap lid. You also get this small batch bowl with a lid. The motor screws to that as well. And you get this tray of these 6 small containers. You're also able to put the date on these containers, which is great for meal prep. And they all sit snug in this little tray, which helps with freezer organization. While preparing my baby's food, I figured I'd get into some pros and cons right away in regards to this system. This is a great system to help you stay organized in terms of prepping your baby's food. But right away, I found a main issue right out the box. The batch bowl, it took me forever to get the lid off. And I tried several ways. I tried taking off the centerpiece because sometimes with blenders you have to take off that clear piece first, then pull off the blue lid. But as you can see, I tried that, didn't work. I'm over here with a spoon. That didn't work. I had to get my husband to stop filming in order to help me get it off. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe it was in the box for too long. That's the first thing. The second thing I noticed right away is the blade used to actually puree the food is just a simple 2-sided blade. As you can see, I have my Ninja on the counter right there. And I wasn't expecting a Ninja type blade, but I was expecting somewhat of a larger blade than was provided, because obviously when preparing food for a baby, you're pureeing food down to sauce. Babies obviously aren't chewing things right out the window. So I found myself not really expecting this, and I was blending and adding water and adding breast milk and blending and not seeing any progress in terms of a puree, which we'll get into that footage in a second. But I found that I had to continuously chop up the avocado into bits in order to get it to puree, which kind of made me feel, okay, what's the point of me doing that, when in actuality, see these large pieces I'm putting here, it did not work. I ended up having to take a knife in the blender and chopping it up into little pieces in order to get it to blend and puree. First, because I don't know how liquidy the avocado is going to be, so you just grab this and you lock it in, and then you So as you can see from the footage prior, I am consistently pushing down. That's one of the pros I like about the bullet. There's no buttons, there's no settings. It's literally click and push down and the pureeing begins. But as you can see, I am consistently struggling with the top. I am consistently adding breast milk to the avocado. Like as you can see here, I was not aware of the pieces that I needed to dice in the bullet. And I'm here adding breast milk, adding water, and the avocado is slowly pureeing. I honestly feel if I would have filled up the batch bowl completely with water or breast milk, I probably wouldn't have ran into this issue. But again, I didn't want the food to be too liquefied. I wanted to have some type of a base consistency if I wanted to meal prep some for the week and I wanted it to have a flow to it. I'm shaking it because I'm thinking, okay, maybe some is stuck on the blade. So my first experience with the bullet has been kind of tedious and I struggled a bit, but now that I've gotten the concept, I find that I'm not using the large batch bowl as much because of this issue. I'm using the smaller one and screwing the blade to the lid. And here it is now, several pushes of the blender later, and I finally got a consistency of avocado that I wanted. Fun fact, if you're pureeing avocado for a baby, this is the consistency you're looking for, minus those little lumps. But it's nice and smooth. I learned to love it after I finally got what I wanted, but I also noticed while I'm showing you this somewhat ASMR of my pureed avocado, certain pros of it and certain cons. So I am not a big fan of the batch bowl, nor am I a fan of these little containers. I love the small batch bowl very much. And the reason why I love the small batch bowl is it gives you the option to screw the motor onto it. And I find that if you're chopping up pieces of food and adding the liquid, it'll blend a lot faster because the bowl is smaller. The length of the power cord to the Bullet Baby is also very satisfying. It is a decent length. It goes around my appliances, so it's out of the way. It stays tucked out of the way. All in all, I would say it's a solid purchase, but let me get into my biggest gripe. These little containers. Now let's talk about these little containers. I think they're adorable. They have the small face on them. It helps if you want to meal prep and store in the fridge. They also have, once again, on the band around them, that little white band that's by my finger, it has the numbers 1 through 31 on them, so you can shift it and click it to the day of the week. This is huge if you're meal prepping in advance and you want to remember for yourself what date either you put them in the fridge or also by what date they need to be done and consumed. But this is my problem with them. If you compare them to a standard baby food jar container, they are way smaller in amount. Now, for some people, they may not care because their baby is eating solely just pure homemade purees. My baby is eating both. He is eating purees, homemade. He's eating baby food out the jar. He's eating a mix of both. And in the beginning, I was wondering why, after having one compared to having another, he is so hungry. And it's because if you actually take the time to measure out, which I may do in a later video, or comment down below if you would like to see a comparison in a separate video, it's not the same thing. It's like one of these bullet containers and a half of another bullet container is the equivalent to one standard jar of baby food, a 4-ounce container, which is the standard container sold in supermarkets. So that was a major issue for me, and I ended up not using them. My baby started eating purees at, I believe, 5 months. He is going to be almost 9 months now, and they're in the cabinet. They're not used. And it was kind of a letdown. I feel like they should actually be a little bigger, and I also feel that they should have measurements behind them, and they don't. Now, despite the size of the blade, despite the food containers, I do definitely feel it's a solid purchase. I don't regret the purchase at all. I mean, it was actually gifted to us by my father. Thank you, Dad. I definitely feel it's a great buy for this batch bowl. No other bullet I have ever seen, okay, has this batch bowl and has these containers. I mean, the containers are great if, for me personally, for storing things in the fridge after they're being pureed if the batch bowl is occupied. But I would say I don't regret it. Just some things to keep in mind. If you have a blender at home, is it an absolute must? Is it necessary? No, because you can meal prep and freeze things into ice cubes. You don't need this mold. You don't need the little containers. But I definitely feel it's a solid buy if you want a system just for your baby and a way to stay organized in terms of pureeing some of their first foods. Stay tuned for some footage on baby Lucas's first food, which was avocado.
Hey, avocado. He definitely knows it's something different.
He definitely.
Yeah.
But he ain't spitting it out.
He's spitting it out. Look at that.
Look at that
smile. Yeah. Ooh.
Like, I remember this.
Like, oh, grandma's gonna love giving me this.
Mm-hmm.
See, say hi, grandma. Say, hey, grandma, you're gonna love giving me this. Mmm.
You licking your lips and everything.
Right. Say bye-bye.
Say hi.
Say hi. Say bye-bye.